Hey, so do you find confrontation terrifying? So if you start to panic, you start to feel way too many emotions, it's overwhelming, and so you end up just freezing and not standing up for yourself, then you're in the right place, because in this video, I'm gonna help you understand why confrontation is so overwhelming for you, and then how to overcome this overwhelm so you can finally stand up for yourself like you want to. So let's get right into this. So if you find that you can't even handle the slightest bit of confrontation without feeling those emotions bubbling up so intensely, you're just, you know you're gonna tear up, you know you might start crying. If that sounds like something you're experiencing, you have to realize that in those moments, you're regressing into a young child. And so I know that can be hard to digest, that can be hard to take, but you have to be able to take a bird's eye view, an objective view of the behavior. So if you were to see two people, one's confronting, the other one's reacting, you have to ask, one is tearing up, one's almost crying, and it's not even that the one person is violent, they're not attacking on that level, they're just confronting somebody on an issue, and the other person's taking it way too personally. So let's put it that way. What is the emotional age of the behavior? Okay? You have to ask yourself this. You have to realize you're not acting age appropriate. So let's say if you're 25, you're not acting as a 25-year-old adult if you're tearing up, if you're overly emotional, if you feel you're being too sensitive in those situations. And I don't mean this in a judgmental way. I used to experience this even in my 30s. I would be a 30-year-old male in an office operating at the level, no exaggeration at all, operating at the level of probably a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. I was absolutely terrified of authority figures. Whenever authority figure would just even be in my present, I thought I was literally in my body, my experience, I was feeling like I was gonna get yelled at, I was gonna be in trouble, you know, not even doing anything wrong, but just feeling like that. And I remember just being absolutely terrified of this one manager at work. She was the type to wear her emotions on her sleeves, you know, be angry, say things out loud, accuse people of things. And I remember I was very reactive to her. The way her presence used to resonate down in my body terrified me, okay? But it's not that she was a terrifying lady, it's just the way our energies kind of lined up at that time, because there were other people in the office, other people on my team that had no reaction to her. They weren't intimidated by her at all. Now, I remember this one time, I used to work on software projects, right? So she was working, her team were the users of the software. My team, I was managing the software, and she needed a task done. And I was overwhelmed with all of these other tasks that I didn't get to the one that she wanted. And it wasn't that I dropped the ball, there was just no process in place to prioritize the tasks from most important to least important. So we're sitting in this meeting, and we had a monthly meeting to talk about progress, updates, things like that. And I remember sitting in the room, and as soon as we start the meeting, she starts pointing at her page. Why isn't this task done? Why isn't this done? Right? And I remember just tearing up. I felt the emotions boiling up, and I just looked down at the ground and I said, I haven't had time to do it yet. Just regressed into this little 7-year-old. Just a young boy feeling like he's in trouble. He's gonna get scolded. He's gonna get yelled at. But it wasn't the situation. She just, according to her memory, something should have been done. And if I was acting age appropriately, if I was acting like my 30-year-old self, I could have just challenged back, respectfully challenged back in a way and said, because that wasn't a priority this week, or it wasn't a priority for the last couple of weeks. And then we could have a fair conversation back and forth. But because I regressed emotionally into a young child, I wasn't able to stand up for myself, because you have to realize in the moment, my mind's blank. All I'm doing is trying to stuff these emotions down, and I'm just trying not to cry, essentially. There's no real way for me to stand up and be assertive, because in order to be assertive, in order to communicate powerfully, challenge people, you have to be grounded. You have to be calm. You have to be confident in yourself that you can communicate and articulate your thoughts effectively. And that's absolutely the opposite of what I used to feel in those moments. So now the question becomes, why are you getting triggered in that way? So if you're like how I was and you are completely intimidated by authority figures and you're regressing into this young state, so you have to ask yourself, who is that authority figure mirroring that made you used to feel like that when you were younger? Right? It's really, really important. Who are they mirroring? Because you could jump into practicing assertive communication. I used to study assertive communication, how to speak powerfully, what lines to say, and this and that, but it was never effective because my emotional state was completely hijacked. I was completely went into this survival mechanism. There was no way for me to stay grounded and use the assertive communication skills. Because that's the type of environment I grew up in too, right? Always in trouble, always getting yelled at, always getting scolded. So what does that tell you is those feelings are still within me. You can take me out of the house, but those feelings have followed me into my 30-year-old life, into the office environment. That's what's getting triggered up. That office manager is simply, she's mirroring how my parents used to be. And that's why I'm regressing into this young child. So if you can go back and see where those feelings are coming from and find a way to heal those old feelings, they won't come back and hijack you in the present moment. If they don't come and hijack you in the present moment, you won't flash back and regress into this child. If you don't flash back and regress into this child, you'll be centered and calm. At that point, you'll have your thought processes, you'll have your powerful voice, you'll have your physiology, you'll be in this calm state. And then that way you'll be able to respond, like I said, age appropriately. And until you do that, you're gonna continue to be a pushover, because in that state, when there's too much overwhelm of emotions, you don't have your thought process in place. You have to just weather the storm, essentially. Nod, agree, say yes, say I'm sorry when you shouldn't. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be true to yourself. You want to get down to the roots where those old feelings are coming from. If you jump into the assertiveness communication and the kind of tips and the tricks for trying to be assertive, that's like trying to run on a broken leg. It's too soon. First, go back, deal with the core problem, which is that overwhelm. Once you do that, then you can look into assertive communication statements and things like that, which is more like fine-tuning it after the deep core issue is resolved. It's like the assertiveness communication is above the water to the iceberg, but below is those deep, old, intense feelings that are getting triggered. So if you want to learn more, you can follow me on Instagram. I post daily content, inspiration, tips. I highly encourage you to follow me there because I post a ton of value and it's going to keep you motivated and it's going to provide you a ton of value on your way to being anxiety-free. It's going to help you stand up for yourself like a boss. You can also join our Facebook group. I'm going to put both links below the video. You can come in there, connect with people, ask questions. I'm in there as well. I can help you closer along the way. Okay, so if you enjoyed the video, I hope it helped. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. All right, peace out.